Now we are going to see about ICA case scenario booklet for Set B strategic cost and performance management. This will be available in ICA's website. Now we are going to solve all the practical sums in this case scenario booklet one by one. Now let's go to the first case scenario, which is a practical sum. Now, as you can see, I have opened the first case scenario. This is a theory part. Like this, we have case scenarios not in an arranged manner, like sums all together and theory all together. We do not have in that manner. So we have to scroll like this and we have to find where we have the theory. I have already made a list of what are the case scenarios which contains theory and all the case scenarios which contains practical questions. So let's move to the first case scenario which contains practical questions. First case scenario 4 is the first case scenario which contains practical sum. The two in only one MCQ, we have practical sum here. In this, what they are saying is that this is such a big story. It contains so many theory questions also. For that, they have given such long story paragraphs. Here, what is the relevant point for the sum is that we have an airline company. The airline company is trying to reduce cost. For that, if the airline company want to reduce cost, they have to reduce cost in various activities. One such activity is that if the passengers arrive earlier, 3 hours before the flight, the company can save 2 crore rupees per annum. For that, they are trying to bring an incentive scheme. For that incentive scheme, what is the plan is that they have to give 50 mile points to a passenger if he arrives 3 hours prior to the flight. So they are expecting that approximately 10,000 passengers will come early and they will avail this 50 mile point reward. So for each mile point, the airline company will have to pay 20 rupees cash. So here what they are asking is that what is the net benefit available to the airline company for providing this program? If the customers arrive early, the savings in cost for the company is 2 crore. The reward points, they are giving 10,000 reward point. 10,000 customers are there. For each customer, they are giving 50 reward points. And then for each reward point, 20 rupees is the cost incurred by the company. So totally, the reward point expense will come to 1 crore. And then the net benefit, savings is 2 crore. Extra cost is 1 crore. The net benefit will be 1 crore. This is the answer. Option B, 1 crore. That's all about this question. Now the next case scenario which we are going to see is case scenario number 7. This is same as chapter 13 standard costing, textual knowledge question number 2. Even all the numbers are same in this question. Same 9.7, 10 rupees and 9.5 rupees. If you have watched the standard costing part of the video, you can see that it is a very similar question. Not similar, it is identical. All the things are same from that question. It is a copied question from textual knowledge question number 2. Like this, many questions in this case scenario booklet are from ICS study material or illustration only. So I will be marking the reference for all those case scenarios and where you can find that question in study material. So though if you studied the ICS study material questions, you need not refer to this case scenario number 7. Now we can move to the next case scenario. Now the next case scenario containing practical sum is case scenario number 12. This is also a very same question copied from the study material, chapter 6 strategic revenue management, illustration number 7. It is a very same to same question. The illustration number 7 is copied and pasted here. That is the only thing. Here they are asking questions in the form of MCQ. There they have asked it in the form of a descriptive. That's the only difference. Everything is same. So I am not separately covering this. I have already covered all the sums while covering the respective chapters study material itself. So I am not doing it separately. Now, the next practical sum is case scenario number 13. This is a question which is similar to chapter 6 strategic revenue management, illustration number 1. What is the meaning of similar is that till now I wrote that the case scenarios are same to same. Now I have used the word similar. The word similar meaning that we have changed the numbers here. The ICA has changed the numbers when drafting this question. The format is same as that illustration, but the numbers have been changed. If you have studied that particular sum, illustration number 1, or you have solved that sum prior to this, you need not refer to this case scenario number 13 because everything is same, only the numbers are changed. So practically everything is same, but I have wrote the word similar to show that the numbers have been changed. If the word same is written, even the numbers are similar to or same as the study material. But when I have used the word similar, the numbers are changed, but the entire question is copied from that study material question only. Only the numbers have been changed. I am not covering this separately because it has a similar format only. If you are able to solve that particular sum in the study material, you will be able to solve this also. So there is no question in it. Now I have written the solution here. If you want, you can refer to the solution. This PDF will be available in the Telegram channel. Otherwise, even without the solution, if you read the solution given by ICA itself has given the reason for each and every question here. If you read that also, you will understand. Or you can use this as a practice material. For practicing the sums, you can use this. Only similar questions are there, many questions. So we can move to the next case scenario. The next case scenario will contain the practical sum is case scenario number 14. This is similar to chapter 4, illustration number 1. Similar means the numbers have been changed, but the entire format of the question is same. Similar to that, I have given the solution. You can refer to it from the PDF given in the Telegram channel. Next case scenario number 15. This is also similar to chapter 4, illustration number 5. You can refer to the solution in the PDF. Same things will apply here also. Now, case scenario number 16. This is also similar only, but I will solve this one for you. The price and quantity demanded are given, and the following sales and demand data is also given. At selling price of 100, we can sell 500 units. At a selling price of 90, we can sell 480 units. Now, we have to use the profit maximization model, and we have to find out the price equation. What is the basic equation of price? P equal to A minus BQ. A is the price where the demand will be 0. B will be the slope of the demand curve. Q will be the quantity sold. Now, B is the slope of the demand curve, which can be found out by change in price divided by change in quantity. Here, when you see 100 versus 90, the change in price is 10. When you see the quantity, the change in quantity is 500 to 480, 20. So, 10 divided by 20, you will get 0.5 as the B value. Now, when you substitute here, P equal to A minus, instead of B, you are using 0.5. And then, now we got the equation P equal to A minus 0.5Q. Here, we can substitute the selling price of 100 and 500. So, I have used that. The price will be 100, the quantity will be 500. Now, what is the value of A? We can substitute it and find out that the value of A is 350. So we can find out the equation that P is equal to A 350 minus B 0.5, Q also we have. This is the equation, we have to select the option. Option number A is the correct one. Then they have asked for the marginal revenue equation. What is the formula for marginal revenue? A minus 2BQ. A 350, 2 into 0.5 into Q, you will get 350 minus Q. So the equation is option number A. Now, the third question, they are asking what is the quantity at which the profit will be maximum. The profit will be maximum at MR equal to MC. MR equation, MC is 150 they have given. When you solve for Q, you will get 200 units. That is the answer. Now, based on the calculation, at what selling price profit will be maximum. Now, they are asking the price. The quantity we found earlier. The quantity is 200 units. And the price is, you have to substitute Q equal to 200 in the equation. When you substitute, you will get 250. At a price of 250, the profit will be maximum. Now, the condition for profit maximization, as we already saw in the concept itself, this curve is the thing which we took for finding out that MR will be equal to MC, and at this point, we will get the maximum profit. So, at this point, what will be the condition? MC curve will cut MR curve from the below. This is the, when you see the curve, you can analyze this fact. That is what they are asking. What is the condition? MC curve cuts MR curve from below. Now, the next case scenario is case scenario number 18. This is similar to chapter number 6, illustration number 2. I have given the solution, you can refer to it. Since it is very, very similar and only the numbers are changed, I am not solving it separately. The next case scenario, which contains a practical sum, is case scenario number 25, which is similar to chapter 12, transfer pricing. In that chapter, we have an example which is exactly same to same. Even the numbers are same. So, the example is in the page number 12.16 in IC study material. That example I have covered during the divisional transfer pricing chapter. Solving the sums of that chapter, I have covered it in the marathon video itself. Case scenario number 26, it is also similar to chapter number 12. Example in page number 12.16. Practically, case scenario number 25 and 26 are same only. The questions are same only. The MCQs drafted below only, they are different. Now, the next case scenario is case scenario number 28. This is also very similar to a sum, but I can get the exact reference of the sum. This is from chapter number 9, strategic performance measures in private sector. Here we have the concept of return on investment and then the residual income. When you find the return on investment, what is the formula for return on investment? Profit divided by the investment. 50 lakh divided by 5 crore. 10% is the ROI. Here, 12 lakh divided by 80 lakh, ROI is 15%. And then, when finding out the residual income, you have to calculate the actual return minus the cost of capital. 8% on 5 crore investment. When you do that, you will get the residual income. The actual profit earned minus the cost of capital on the investment. Actual profit minus cost of capital on the investment. You will get the residual income. This we have this concept we have discussed in detail in chapter number 9 when solving the sums of that chapter. So I am just covering it in a brief manner here. Now we can move to the next case scenario. The next case scenario is case scenario number 31. Here we have to calculate the economic value added. In this question, they have given the rate of PBIT 50,000 and then tax rate we have 30%. When you multiply PBIT by 1 minus tax, you will get 35,000. And then when you multiply WSCC into capital, WSCC they have given here 12%. Capital they have given total invested capital 1,50,000. When you multiply, you will get this WSCC into capital employed. When you subtract these two, you will get the EVA. This also we have covered in detail in chapter number 9. Now the next case scenario is case scenario number 38. This contains a practical sum which is based on chapter number 12 transfer pricing. Now here we have two division. Division number 1 is producing component A and division number 2 is producing product B. Product B is finished goods and for that finished goods we need a raw material. That raw material is component number A. The component A is manufactured by division number 1. It is produced in batches of 1000 units. The maximum capacity for production of division number 1 is 6000 components per month. The variable cost incurred by the first division to produce a component is 60 rupees per component and then fixed cost is 2 lakh. Now division number 2, it is producing the product number B. It is produced in batches of 1000 units. The maximum customer demand of product B is 24,000 units in a month. The variable cost incurred by the second division to produce the product is 36 rupees. Fixed cost is 3 lakh. Now we have to find out the transfer price. Here what they are saying is that the second division has designed a new product B which has asked division number 1 to supply the component A that is needed for the new product. This will be a completely new scale of component. Each unit of product B will require one component A. The component will not be sold by the division number 1 to external customer. The division number 1 has quoted a transfer price of 180 rupees for each unit of component A. The transfer price which is quoted by division number 1 is 180 rupees. Here in MCQ what they are asking is that at a transfer price of 180 per component A, how many units of product B will the second division produce to maximize the profit? The second division is buying the component A at 180 rupees. How much unit will product B should be sold by division 2 to maximize the profit? Now we have different situation. For product B, when the For product B, when division 2 sells the 1000 units of product B, this will be the selling price per unit. Same like that, when division 2 sells 4000 units of product B, this will be the selling price. Here, for every selling price, we have the variable cost also. The variable cost is 180 rupees. We have to buy the component A from the first division, and then 36 rupees we have to incur other variable cost. So the total variable cost is 216. This is the selling price we have. You are reducing the variable cost from it. You are getting the contribution per unit. When you multiply by the number of units, you will get the total contribution. Here, when you see the highest contribution is at this level, 4000 units, 360 rupees selling price. When you have the highest contribution, this will obviously lead to the highest profit. So, we can take that this level is the maximum profit level. So, 4000 units we have to produce to have maximum profit. Next thing is, what is the profit for the first division when 4000 units of component are sold to the U division, second division? Now, the first division, when it sells 4000 units, what will be the profit? They are asking. The selling price is 180 rupees. The first division is selling at 180 rupees. And then the variable cost they are incurring 60 rupees. 120 rupees is the contribution. So, they are selling 4000 units at 120 rupees contribution. 4000 into 120 will be the contribution. And then what is their fixed cost? Their fixed costs are 2 lakh. Now, when you calculate the contribution minus fixed cost, here you can see that the contribution is 4000 into 120, we are getting 4,80,000. The fixed cost is 2 lakh. When you reduce the contribution and the fixed cost, you will get 2,80,000. That is the profit. Now the next thing is, what is the maximum monthly profit for the entire group based on the total marginal cost of the division. Here what they are saying is that the total profit we have to find out per month based on the marginal cost of the division. The meaning of based on the marginal cost of the division is that the divisions are making interdivisional transfer at marginal cost. When they do the divisions transfer at marginal cost, what will be the total profit of the group? That is what they are asking here. When we see the solution, the marginal cost of first division is, now based on variable cost, if you see the transfer price, division number 1 will transfer at 60 rupees per component. Now the variable cost incurred by the division number 2 is 36. 60 rupees they will buy the component, 36 will be the additional variable cost. Now 96 will be the total variable cost. Instead of 216, we will have 96 variable cost. So if you see the solution, here you can see at each level we have the selling price and the variable cost to be 96. This is the contribution per unit they are getting. When you multiply by the number of units, this is the contribution they are getting. This is 3,84,000, 6,88,000, 9,12,000, 10,56,000, 11,20,000, 10,32,000. Here when you see we have the highest contribution at this level, 5,000 units. At this level, what is the contribution? 11,20,000. And from this contribution, you are reducing the total fixed cost of the group. One division has the fixed cost of 2 lakh, another division has 3 lakh. Total 5 lakh is the fixed cost of the entire group. When you reduce, you will get the monthly profit of the entire group, 6,20,000. This is the maximum profit at 5,000 units of product B based on marginal cost. Option number C. Option number C, 6,20,000. Now the next thing is, what is the selling price of product B when the maximum output is produced for the highest profit? Here they have taken an assumption. The fourth question is a continuation of the third question. Based on marginal cost itself, if they produce and transfer, what will be the maximum output for the highest profit? Here the level is 5,000 units level is the most profitable level. At that level, what is the selling price? 320. So that is the answer. 320. Based on third question and fourth question are linked. So we are getting the answer of 320. Now we can move to the next case scenario. Next, we are going to see case scenario number 39. This is also a very similar question only. This is from chapter number 7, which is about the topic of direct profitability analysis. Per customer, we will be finding customer profitability analysis. So here, what we have said, we have 4 customers. Now, these 2 customers are buying from the small pharmaceutical shop. Then these 2 customers are buying from the large pharmaceutical shop. Now we have the number of orders and order size. This customer has made 4 orders. For each order, the size is 40,000 rupees. The total order size is 1,60,000 rupees. This is the sales revenue. This is the average discount that they give. So when you reduce 4.5%, you will get the net sales revenue. And then from this you have to reduce the remaining cost. Regular delivery, 4 delivery we are doing. For 1 delivery, this is the cost, 375. 2 expedited delivery. Expedited delivery means we are doing fast delivery. For fast delivery, 1 fast delivery, this is the cost. And then this is the general administration cost, which is common for both the customers and the small pharmaceutical store. We have to calculate the operating income statement like this. For example, we are doing it for the third customer, OX3. The total revenue is 4,25,000 multiplied by 6. You will get 25,50,000. And now, when you read this question, one thing you can find out extra information. The company uses discount pricing and prices the products at variable cost plus 25%. So, the total sales revenue will be equal to variable cost plus 25%. For customer 3, what is the total sales revenue? 25,50,000. So, variable cost plus 25% will be equal to the sales revenue. Now, when you calculate the value of variable cost, it will come to 20,40,000. When you do the working, you will get 20,40,000 as the variable cost. Now, when you see the operating income statement, you can find out. OX3, the revenue is 25,50,000 less discount, and you are taking the variable cost also, 20,40,000. Here also you can see 20,40,000. Now, in this operating income statement, for each customer they have done. How they have found the variable cost? That is what I have told now. From the sales revenue, using the formula variable cost plus 25%. Like this, you have to calculate the variable cost for each customer. This discount is a percentage of the sales revenue given above, and then this contribution we are getting by reducing the variable cost and from the revenue. Now, order processing cost, as we already saw, number of orders multiplied by the activity rate. Regular delivery and expedited delivery, same like that. And then when you reduce all this expense from the revenue, you will get the customer profit. When you add these two profit, you will get the total profit for the store. And then when you reduce the general cost, you will get the channel profit. Channel profit meaning that the total profit for the small pharmaceutical store. Same like that you have to do for the large pharmaceutical store also. That's all about this question. Relating to that only, they have given some 4 questions. You can read this. When you find the numbers itself, you can easily find the correct answer for the MCQ. Now, case scenario number 40. This is very similar. This is same to same as chapter number 7, illustration number 3. I have given the reference here. Now, this is also case scenario number 41, similar to chapter 13, standard costing, illustration number 5. Now we are going to see case scenario number 42. This is from the chapter of standard costing. This is also a similar question only, but I can't find the reference of the exact question. When you solve all the sums in standard costing itself, you will be able to solve this. But anyway, I am discussing it. Here we have a company. For a particular year, they are comparing the budget and the actual. The budget is to sell this much units. This much is the sales value, material, labor, variable overheads. Here you can see it is given as sales value. So this is the total sales. When you see this is given as materials, so this is the total material cost, this is the total labor cost, this is the total variable overheads. Like that you have to interpret. Now the sales budget is based on the expectation that the company's estimate of market share is 12%. The company estimates that during the budget, the market share of the company will be 12%. The entire industry sales of the same product for the year is 240,000 units. Further details are as follows. Material cost standard versus actual, labor rate standard versus actual, they have given. Now they are asking the sales contribution price variance. For sales contribution price variance, what is the formula? Now, for calculating the contribution price variance, we have to take the actual contribution minus the budgeted contribution, and then we have to multiply by the actual number of units sold. Here we can see that the actual number of units sold is 25,600. So we have taken 25,600 here. Now, for calculating the actual contribution and budgeted contribution, we are going here. The budgeted contribution is the sales price per unit. The total we are going to sell 24,000 units. For 24,000 units, the total sales revenue is 6,000. When you divide, you can see that for 1 unit, the price is 0.25 rupees. And actually what happened, we sold this much units at this much total, this much units at this much sales revenue. When you divide, you will get that for 1 unit, the actual selling price is 0.265. The variable cost per unit, the variable cost is adding all these three dividing by the number of units. You will get that for 1 unit, the total variable cost is 0.2. The budgeted contribution is 0.05. For finding the actual contribution for the contribution price variance formula, we have to take the actual selling price and reduce the budgeted variable cost from it. Actual selling price minus budgeted variable cost 0.2. Now you will get the actual contribution. Now we have to use these two in the formula. 0.065 minus 0.05. 0.065 minus 0.05. So when you do this calculation, you will get 384 favorable as the variance. Budgeted profit volume ratio for the company. What is the budgeted profit volume ratio? Budgeted contribution divided by budgeted selling price. You will get 20%. The next thing is they are asking the market size variance and market share variance. Here what they have told is that actually the entire industry sales, meaning that the total market size is 240,000 units. How much units they sold? 25,600. So what is the actual market share percentage? Total this much market size. Out of this much is the market share. So the percentage is 10.67. What the company estimated is that the company will have 12% market share. At a 12% market share, they budgeted that 24,000 will be the sales of the company. The company's share is 12%. For that, they are selling 24,000 units. So for 100% market share, what will be the total market size? That is 100% market share. When you cross multiply, you will get that the total market size in the budget is 2 lakh. 24,000 divided by 12%, you will get 2 lakh. Actually, what happened? The market size changed to be 2,40,000. The actual market size should be taken in the revised budget. The difference in market size. For this purpose only, we are calculating the revised budget itself. Now, the market share is 25,600 actual. The budget is 24,000. As per the revised budget, you should sell, as per the original budget, you should sell 24,000 units in a market size of 2 lakh. But now the market size increased to 2,40,000. In this revised budget, you have to sell same 12% of 2,40,000. You should sell 28,800 to adjust the same budget. So when you compare these two, budget and the revised budget, here what is the difference? Market size is different. So the difference is market size variance. When you compare budget and revised budget and actual, here market size is same, but the market share is different, 12% and 10.67%. So when you compare these two, you will get market share variance. As we already know the formula, we have to take 28,800 minus 24,000 multiplied by the standard contribution. 28,800, 24,000 standard contribution. You will get the variance. Same like that. Here also, take 25,600 minus 28,800 into standard contribution. Standard contribution is 0.05. When you multiply, you will get 160 adverse as the variance. First option. Now we can move to the next case scenario. Now this is case scenario number 43. This we will be solving. This is not similar to any question. This is a very different question. Now we will be solving it. Here they have given a reconciliation statement. Budgeted profit and then actual profit. These are the different variances. There is no inventory. Production units equal to sales units for both actual and budget. How much you produce, that much we will be selling in the market. There is no inventory. Standard selling price, standard variable cost, budgeted sales units, actual selling price, standard material cost, material usage variance, actual labor cost at actual rate. Actual hours into actual rate is this. Actual hours into standard rate. Actual hours into standard rate is 61,950. Variable overhead standard rate 2 rupees. And then they have also given standard hours of production, variable overhead at standard rate, variable overhead expenditure variance, budgeted fixed overhead. Now what they are asking is that actual sales units they are asking. Here when you see what is the sales variance that we have, sales contribution price variance we have, and also contribution quantity variance we have. What is the formula for the contribution quantity variance? Actual quantity less budgeted quantity multiplied by budgeted contribution. This logic for the formulas and all I have explained in the when solving the sums of standard costing chapter. Sales contribution quantity variance is 1800 favorable, so positive 1800. Positive 1800. Actual quantity we have to find out. Actual sales. Budgeted quantity of sales 10,000 they have given here. You have to substitute it, and then when you find for the actual quantity, you will get it to be 10,600. So that is the answer, 10,600. Actual quantity of raw materials used. Now we have to find out the actual quantity of direct materials used. What is the standard quantity? 5 kilogram per unit. For 1 unit, the cost of raw material is 1 rupees. For 1 rupee, what you are buying? You are buying 5 kg of material. 1 kg is cost 20 paisa. So the total cost is 1 rupees per unit. 5 kilogram of raw material you are using. Now we have the usage variance. The material usage variance we have 400 adverse. The standard quantity is we are using 5 kilogram for 1 unit. Total how many units you sold? 10,600. We already found out in the first subdivision. So this much will be the total materials, standard materials that should be used. Standard quantity. Now we can see here 5 kilogram multiplied by the actual units we got it, and then material usage variance standard quantity minus actual quantity into standard price. This minus 400 adverse variance, standard quantity 53,000, actual quantity we have to find out, standard price is 0.2. When you solve for actual quantity, you will get it to be 55,000. That's the option you have to tick in the question. 55,000. The next thing is actual variable overheads in rupees they are asking. For variable overheads, we have a variance called variable overhead variance. Here we can see that variable overhead variance, it is 1,800. Now, we do not have whether it is variable overhead expenditure variance or variable overhead cost variance or variable overhead efficiency variance. We do not have that information. So, we have to assume something. The standard variable overheads they have given. Variable overheads at standard rate, 84,800. Variable overhead expenditure variance, we have 400 adverse. Here if you see, here if you can see I have written ICI. This is the approach followed by ICI for variable overheads calculation. The variable overhead variance is given 1800. Standard variable overhead minus actual variable overhead. This is the formula as per ICI. Now standard variable overhead we have 84,800 given in the question. Here if you can see 84,800 you can find it out. Now actual variable overhead we have to find out. So when you solve for actual variable overhead you will get it to be 83,000. Here there is no problem. But the formula, the logic is that we have no formula like this. That is the only problem here. But when you analyze and see, we have two things given. One is the variable overhead expenditure variance, separately 400 adverse. And then we have the total variable overhead variance, 1,800. So we can assume that this 1,800 is variable overhead cost variance, the total of variable overhead variance. And then we have separately variable overhead expenditure variance. With this, we can find one thing. Here if you can see variable overhead cost variance is divided into two parts. One is expenditure, another is the efficiency variance. This cost variance value we have 1,800 favorable. This expenditure variance we have minus 400 adverse. So we can find out this efficiency variance. When you total these two, you will get 1,800 variable overhead cost variance. This we have expenditure variance 400. Variable overhead efficiency variance we can find out to be 2,200. Now this variable overhead efficiency variance, what is the formula? Standard hour minus actual hour into standard rate of variable overhead. Standard rate of variable overhead where we can find variable overhead standard rate 2 rupees. So here if you substitute to be 2 rupees, standard hour 42,400. How we found out this 42,400? Total variable overheads at standard rate is 84,800. Standard rate is 2. So 84,800. Wait a minute. 84,800 divided by 2 will be the standard hours. So when you do this, you will get 42,400. That is what I have taken here, 42,400 as the standard hours. When you solve for actual hour, you will get 41,300 hours. This is the actual labor hours. Now what is the variable overhead expenditure variance? Standard rate minus actual rate into actual hour. Actual hour we have 41,300. Standard rate we have 2. Actual rate, that is what we have to find out. Expenditure variance, we got in the question that 400 adverse. Now when you solve for actual rate, you will get the actual rate to be 2.009685. So what is the actual variable overhead? Actual rate into actual hour. Actual rate for variable overhead is 2.009685. Actual hour is 41,300. When you multiply, you will get approximately 83,000. 82,999. You can round it off to 83,000. That is the answer also. You can find it in this long cut formula. Although you can also you can use the ICI method. This ICI method does not have any that much logic. That's why I'm using the long cut method. And fixed overhead, we don't have any other information. Only we have the fixed overhead variance, 600 adverse, and then we have the budgeted fixed overhead. Budgeted fixed overhead is 15,000. We don't have any other information relating to the fixed overhead. So we have to find out the fixed overhead actual using these two things only. Fixed overhead 600 adverse, meaning that we have spent more than the budget. We have an adverse variance. In cost, what is the adverse variance? We have spent more than the planned cost. So this is the budgeted cost. We spent 600 more. So when you add, you can get 15,600. This is the only logic we can keep for fixed overhead. Operating profit variance. What is operating profit variance? This is the budgeted profit and this is the actual profit. The difference between these two will be called as the operating profit variance. When you you calculate the budgeted profit versus actual profit, the variance will be 15,000 minus 7,000. You will get 8,000 as the variance. Budgeted profit variance. You can see 8,000 adverse. Now, when you calculate standard profit, what is standard profit? Standard contribution minus the budgeted fixed overhead. What is the standard contribution? For 1 unit, what is the contribution of that? This is the selling price. Actual selling price is 17. Budgeted selling price is 18. Budgeted selling price minus budgeted variable cost. Or else, for this is the budgeted contribution. Now, for actual contribution, 17. Actual selling price minus budgeted variable cost, 15. 2 you will get as the actual contribution. Now, here what we will want the standard contribution, 3 rupees per unit into actual number of units minus the budgeted fixed overhead. You will get this as the standard profit. Standard profit versus the actual profit. You will get 9,800 adverse. That is the answer for the next 2 questions. This is the reason why I told that this is a very different question. Now, that's all about this question. Now, this is the next case scenario number 44. This is also similar to a question. I have given the reference here. The next case scenario is case scenario number 45. This is about the cost of quality concept. Here we have a company. It is manufacturing cricket bats. For that bat, the selling price is 4,800 per unit. And then these are the variable cost incurred in the manufacturing of that bat. These two components and assembling cost are for production. Cost of production. This delivery cost is the cost of delivery. And then when you reduce all this variable cost, you will get 800 rupees contribution per unit. The components like willow, rubber grip, etc. are a set. They are bought in, and in an assembling process, they are being assembled. Now, in an intensely competitive market where the company currently holds 30% market share, annual demand of these bats is 1 lakh units. Here, what they are saying is that the company has a 30% market share. Annual demand of these bats means the total demand of the market. The market size is 1 lakh units. On reviewing the previous performance, it is revealed that 3% of the bats supplied to customers were returned for free replacement because of fault. Now, the company has a free replacement policy. If the customer find any fault, they can give it to the company, return it to the company, and get a free replacement. 3% of the bats supplied are getting free replacement because of fault. Defective components which are initially bought into assembling process are held responsible for this. Why we are getting this faulty product is that we are purchasing component, right? That component sometimes it becomes defective. The defective components result in faulty products. That is the reason. These returned bats cannot be repaired and have no scrap value. The 3% bats which we are getting in return, that bats which we cannot sell to any other person, we cannot repair it also, and it has no scrap value. Now, the supply of faulty bats to customer could be eliminated by implementing an inspection process immediately before the goods are delivered. This would improve the customer perception thus resulting in an increase of 5% in the current market share, making a total market share of 35%. Now, what they are saying is that now we need to implement an inspection process. When you implement the inspection process, what will happen is that we will manufacture the faulty bat, but we will filter it out before delivering to the customer. The customer will get only good bats. When the customer gets only good product, the customer will have a respect for the brand, and it will build a brand reputation. Because of that, they can achieve an extra sales of 5%. Currently, the market share is 30%. They can hold a market share of 35% after implementing the inspection program. That is what they are saying. Here, what they are asking is that the total quality of non-conformance cost for the coming year. Non-conformance cost means cost of poor quality. That is what we have to find out. In cost of poor quality, what we will do is that we will add the internal failure and external failure cost. What is internal failure and external failure cost? That we already saw in the second chapter concept. Now we have to see the what is the cost of poor quality. We will add the replacement cost. We are producing bad product. That is why we are going to do the replacement. So the replacement cost is a cost of poor quality. And then because of our producing bad quality product, we are losing a contribution of 5% market share. If we produced only good quality product, we could have achieved extra 5% market share. In that extra 5% market share, we will get additional contribution. That contribution we are sacrificing now because we are producing faulty product. So that is also a cost of poor quality. Now the free replacement cost is that the company will manufacture the product. After that, they will filter out the bad product. Now here one thing we need to understand is that this 1 lakh unit demand they have given, that is the demand for good units. That is the assumption they have taken there. Now this 1 lakh units is the good units. In that we have market share of 30%. So 30,000 units we have to produce good units. Now we are getting 3% of faulty production. So when you want to produce a total of 100 bats, you will get 3 bats defective. From this, what you can understand, you will get only 97% good units in production. Now, if you want to produce 5,000 good units, what will happen is that you have to produce 5,155 units. Only then you will filter out 3% bad products, and then you will get 5,000 good units. That is what you have to understand here. The company has a total market share of 1 lakh into 30%, 30,000 units. This total 30,000 units is assumed to be good units. So we have to produce a total of 30,928. 30,000 divided by 97%. In this, 928 units will become faulty. We have to replace them. Since we are not implementing the inspection process, currently we have to produce this much units, and then 928 we have to replace. Now what is the replacement cost? We have to again produce that 928 bats. We have to incur the cost of component, assembling cost, delivery cost, everything we have to incur again. So for these 928 units, current market share, we have to produce this much faulty units. Only then we will be able to supply 30,000 good units. For this extra units, bad units, we are replacing it. For that we are incurring this much cost. per unit. When you multiply, you will get the total replacement cost. Now, lost contribution from extra market share, net of inspection cost. What is the meaning of that? You will get extra 5% market share if you did not produce bad quality product. So how much we will be extra selling? We will be having 35% market share after implementing the inspection process. Currently, the market share is 30%. 5% you have extra market share. Total market size is 1 lakh units. Out of this 5% means 5,000 units you will be able to sell extra. For 1 unit, you are getting this much 800 rupees contribution. This you can find out from the table, 800 rupees contribution. So total contribution which you are getting, you can get by multiplying 5,800. Loss due to production of bad units. In this extra 5,000 units also, this 5,000 you are getting by multiplying by 1 lakh only. So this 1 lakh is good units. So when you multiply by 5%, this 5,000 is also good units. For producing 5,000 good units, you have to produce a total of 5,155 units. Only then 155 will become bad units. You will filter it out and then you will give 5,000 units to the customer. As you can see, extra market share, good units, where you have to produce total 5,155. We have to replace 155 in this extra market share. This extra market share we will get only if we implement the inspection process. By doing this inspection, we will filter the bad products and they have no scrap value. Again, we have to incur variable cost to produce the replacement units for the bad units. That is not currently important. Now, we have to incur this much loss due to production of bad units. How this 3,200 came? 150 units, we have to produce bad units. That we found out. How this 3,200 came is that, now, when you produce 155 units, what is the loss? This 155 units you are producing, no, that you are producing of bad quality, that you will filter out. Now, what will exactly happen is that you will produce 5,155 and then you will filter out the bad product. When you filter out the bad product, you will get a total of 155 bad units. Now, what happened is that for this 155 bad units, you already incurred 1,200 plus 2,000 plus delivery you did not do. You only produced the bad units. After production itself, you filtered it out. So there will be no delivery cost for the bad units filtered out. You already incurred 3,200 for production of the bad units. Now you have to replace it also. You will filter these units and you have to again produce replacement units for those. 1,200, 2,000 again you have to produce. You have to deliver that good units also. So you have to incur extra 4,000 rupees per unit for those 155 bad units which you found out. Total cost incurred for those 155 units is 3,000 units for first time production. Then you are filtering it out. Then for second time production, 4,000 you are incurring. So total you are incurring 7,200 rupees for those 155 units. Now normally when you produce a good unit, what will happen is that you will get a total cost of 4,000 for a production, delivery, etc. fully. Now when you are producing bad units, the total cost you are getting is 7,200. So when you reduce the normal cost, you will get you can analyze that 3,200 extra cost you are getting because of producing the bad unit. So that is the loss due to production of bad unit per unit basis. When you multiply by the number of bad units, you will get the total loss due to production of bad units. This is the contribution from the extra market share sale. This is the loss due to production of bad units from that extra market share. Now when you do this on a net basis, you will get this much contribution from extra market share. This is the free replacement cost you are incurring and this much is the contribution you are sacrificing by producing bad quality product. So this much will be the total non-conformance cost. Total cost of poor quality in this first subdivision, 72,16,000. Now the next question what they are asking is that what is the additional contribution expected due to increase in market share after implementing the inspection process. Now what is the additional contribution we will get? This much we will get contribution, this much we will make a loss due to production of bad units. So on a net basis we will get 35,04,000. This will be the additional contribution we will get. That amount we have found out already. Now, how much will the company save in delivery cost on the 928 faulty bat if the inspection process is implemented? Now, currently what you are doing is that this 928 units you are producing, you are delivering to the customer and then it is being returned back. What is happening? You are producing that units by incurring 1,200 plus 2,000. You are delivering it also by using 800 rupees delivery cost. After that, it is being returned. Now again, you will spend 1,200 plus 2,000 and 800, and you will deliver it to the customer as good unit replacement. Now, when you filter out using inspection for the bad unit, you will incur only 1,200 and 2,000. You will not incur this 800 rupees delivery cost because you filter the bad units out before the delivery to the customer itself. So you will save 800 rupees on those filtering mechanism. 928 multiplied by 800. When you do this, you will get 7,42,400. This will be the savings in delivery cost on the 928 faulty bat. What is the total increase in profit expected due to the implementation of inspection process? Now we have to find out what is the cost after implementing the inspection process. This is the cost of non-conformance before implementing the inspection process. After implementing the inspection process, what happened is that we are getting a total non-conformance cost to be 29,600. How that is that 928 replacement parts into 3,200. What is happening is that earlier we used to sacrifice this contribution. Now after implementing the inspection process, we will get this additional contribution. So this is not a non-conformance cost. And then in free replacement cost also, we will not incur this 800 because we will incur only production cost in the manufacturing of bad units. We will not deliver the bad units. So only this much 3,200 production cost will be incurred for the bad units. Contribution also we got due to implementation of inspection. This delivery cost also we saved. So only 3,200 will be incurred on the 928 units. That will be the only non-conformance cost. 3,200 into 928, you will get this amount. Now, the savings in non-conformance cost. Earlier, you were getting a cost of 72,16,000. Now, after inspection process implementation, you are getting only approximately 30 lakh. What is the savings? You are saving about 42 lakhs in the non-conformance cost. Savings in non-conformance cost. This is approach number 1. You can use another approach also. In this another approach, what you can see is this is an incremental approach. What is the additional contribution you are earning because of implementing the inspection? 35 lakh 4,000. 35 lakh 4,000. And then what is the thing you are saving? You are finding out the bad units before delivery itself, and then you are saving the delivery cost on the bad units. So this is the amount you are saving. Additional contribution, this much you are earning, this much is the cost you are saving. Totally the savings is 42 lakh 46,000. This much will be an increase in the profit because you are saving that amount. That's all about this case scenario. Now we can move to the next question. Now we can move to the case scenario number 47. This is also from chapter number 7, strategic profit management. This is also relating to the direct product profitability analysis. Here we have a company which manufactures two parts, P and Q. The part P, it has an annual production and sales of 1 lakh units. The selling price is 100.05. For Q, the annual production is 50,000 units. Selling price is 150. They have given the cost also. This is the total cost. 4,200 and 3,000 is the total direct material cost for the product. Labor cost, machining cost, indirect cost also they have given. This indirect cost they have given in total, not allocated to the two product. This allocation we have to do based on the activity based costing principle. We have to allocate the setup cost based on the setup time, testing cost based on the testing time, engineering cost based on the engineering cost incurred for each product. Now they have that 100,000 units is the batch size. Total we have to produce 1 lakh units. In one batch we can produce 1,000 units. So we will have a total of 100 batches. And then product Q also, we have 500 units batch size. We have to produce a total of 50,000 units. 500 units in one batch. So you will get a total of 100 batches. You have to produce a total of 100 batch for both the products. Now we will do the allocation. Here if you can see, we are taking the setup cost of 4,62,000. This 4,62,000 we took from this table. This total cost we are taking. And then we are allocating it between two products. For setup, for one batch, the setup for product Q is 30 hours. For Q is 36 hours. Number of batches, 100. When you multiply, you will get the total setup time. For one batch, setup time is 30 hours. For total 100 batches, the setup time is 3,000 hours. For Q also, the total setup time is 3,600 hours. You are dividing the total setup cost 4,62,000 into 3,000 is to 3,600 ratio. If you divide in this ratio, you will get this much amount. And then for the total testing cost, 2375. This is in thousands. So it is 23,75,000. This is based on the testing time per unit. For one unit, this is the testing time. Then you multiply by the number of units, 1,50,000, you will get the total testing time. 5 hours for 1 unit, 1 lakh units. 9 hours for 1 unit, 50,000 units. This is the total testing time. When you divide it in this ratio, you will get the testing cost for each product. Now, engineering cost they have given directly. For product Q, the total engineering cost is 8.4 lakhs. For product Q, the total engineering cost is 14.10 lakhs. You can take it directly. Now, this is the total setup cost for product P. This is for 1 lakh units. For 1 unit, you have to divide the setup cost by 1 lakh units. You will get the setup cost per unit. Like that, if you do, you will get the setup cost, testing cost, and engineering cost per unit. And then here we have the total direct material cost. This also, when you divide by the number of units, you will get the material cost per unit. When doing that, you can get this direct cost also on a per unit basis. Now that we found out all the costs on a per unit basis, we are adding that and we are finding the total cost per unit. Here in the question that they have given that we need a total profit of this much percentage margin. In the first MCQ, if you see, they are asking the total cost per unit, full cost per unit that we already found out, which comes out to be 87 and 146.74. Accordingly, we will choose the first option. The next thing is they are asking the markup on full cost. In question, they have given the selling price to be 100.05 and 150. This much is the total cost. This is the profit amount we are getting per unit. When you take out the profit percentage on cost, you are getting 15% markup and 2.22% markup for each of the product. So they are asking the markup on full cost for P. It is 15%. Now the next question is target cost per unit for new design to maintain the same markup percentage. In question, they have given one more information. If you see here, we have that a foreign competitor is launching another product which is similar to P. To maintain the company share and profit, the company has decided to reduce the price to be 86.25. The company is deciding a meeting and comes up with a proposal. The proposal is the direct material cost we are reducing by 5 rupees per unit. Labor cost we are reducing by 2 rupees per unit. Machine time we are reducing by 15 minutes. Now this machine time is a special point which we will see it later. Now the setup time is 28 hours for each setup. Earlier the setup time is 30 hours. After the proposal it will become 28 hours. Now the time required for testing will be reduced by 1 hour. Engineering cost and batch size will remain unchanged. Here when you see the solution, you can see that the direct material cost is reduced by 5 rupees, the new rate is 37. Same like that, they have implemented the proposal changes and then they have computed the new rate. Accordingly, have computed the total cost and the total cost comes out to be 77,36,000. For 1 unit, it will be 77.36. This is the cost that we are achieving after implementing all the proposal. Now the target cost is 75. How they are getting to 75, we will see now. The target price is 86.25. Now we want the same markup. Now what we are doing is that the target selling price is 86.25. We want a same markup. In the earlier stage, what we had is that 100 is the profit, 15 will be the 100 is the cost, 15 will be the profit. You will have 115 as the selling price. This 86.25 is equivalent to 115. Now, what will be the profit? You have to find out by cross multiplication. And then when you find out the profit and reduce it from the selling price, you will get the target cost to be 75. Now, what is the actual cost we are getting after implementing the proposal? We are getting 77.36. In one question, what they are asking is that what is the target cost? 75 rupees they are asking, and then we are answering the target cost to be 75. Which of the following statement is correct? The first statement is the target cost of 75 and the estimated cost is 77.36 after implementing the proposal. The new design does not achieve the target cost. Hence, the target markup shall not be achieved. The cost will be more. So, we will not get the planned markup of 11.25. That is what they are telling. That is the correct option also. Now, the next thing is we are going to see about the machining cost. In the question, they have given that the direct machining cost is 700, 550 and 1250. In note point, they have given that the direct machining cost represents the cost of the machine capacity dedicated to the production of each product. These costs are fixed and are not expected to vary over the long run. So, there will be no change in the direct machining cost. So, after the proposal also, there will be no change in the machining cost. If you see here, you can find out that the direct machining cost, no change. That is what I meant to tell. Now, that's all about this direct machining cost. The last question is that which should not be a possible management action for the company regarding the new design. This new proposal they have given, this reducing the labor cost, machine time, material cost and all. This is a new design. After the new design, these changes will be implemented. What the company should not do, that is what they are asking. Value engineering and value analysis, that the company should do, it is a good thing only. This you will know when you are studying the theory, and when I upload the theory marathon, you will know about what is value engineering and what is value analysis. Exploring possibility of cost reduction. Cost reduction also the management will be able to do. It should do. It is good for the company. The next D point is identification of non-value-added activities and eliminating them. We have to eliminate the non-value-added activities. That is also a good thing. The third option is the expected selling price on an estimated cost of 77.36 per unit is 98.96. The 77.36 is the estimated cost of the new design. When you add a 15% markup on the cost, what you get is you will get 88.964 as the selling price if with a 15% markup. But here they are saying that the selling price will be 98.96. So that is a wrong thing, wrong calculation. So this is the wrong, not a possible management option. And then they are telling that we have to introduce the Pareto or sensitivity analysis after implementation of new design to study the sales quantity changes in the price range of this much. This is the wrong option because in the IC solution also, if you see, they have calculated the same thing. 88.964 will be the expected selling price. The selling price will not be 98.96. So this is the wrong and not a possible management option. So this is the answer. The next case scenario is case scenario 48. This is also similar to chapter 4 illustration number 2. Now we can move to the next one. Case scenario 49. This is also similar to chapter number 2, test to analyze question number 5. This questions I am skipping. This I have already covered a similar question for same questions when solving the IC study material sums. And one more thing is that when you have to watch this IC self-paced online module case scenario booklet discussion is that when you solved all the sums in the study material, illustration, test to knowledge, test to understanding, case scenario, case database MCQ, everything in the study material you have solved. Only then you have to come to the case scenario booklet. This is for practice material only. After solving the IC study material sums, you should come here. I am solving all the sums here in a little bit of fast manner only, so that you may not understand if you have not studied the sums in the IC study material. First, you have to watch my marathon for the sums, or you can solve the sums by yourself. And after knowing the concept, if you come to this session, you will be understanding the sums in the case scenario booklet. Now we are going to see case scenario number 50. In this, we have two companies. One is a company from United States, USA, and then the other company is from India. The Indian company is making an agreement with the United States company to manufacture supercomputers. Here, the Computer Incorporation, this is the USA company. The Computer Tech, this is the Indian company. Now, the Indian company will be importing some supercomputer parts from the USA company. The US company will provide Indian company with kits in a dismantled condition. We will import the computer kits in a dismantled condition. We will use that in the manufacturing of supercomputers in India. On a value basis, the supply in terms of the FOB price will be 50% thereof. This is a very, very important line. What is the meaning is that the value of the supply. On a value basis, the supply means the value of the supply. In terms of the FOB price means the value of the supply we will determine based on the FOB price. What is the FOB price? The FOB price, free on board price, agreed is $2,040. The exchange rate is 55. So when you multiply this, you will get the FOB price in rupees. You will get 1,12,200 as the FOB price. Now here, if you can see, what is the value of the supply in terms of FOB price will be 50% thereof. So 1,12,200 multiplied by 50%, this will be the value of supply. So here, if you can see, value meaning monetary value in the sentence, and then the value of the supply of dismantled kit will be 50% of the FOB price, 50% of 1 lakh, and then you will get 56,100. This is the price at which the Indian company will purchase the dismantled kit. The price at which Indian company will purchase the dismantled kit is 56,100 per kit. The Computer Tech Indian company will procure the balance of the material in India. The remaining material for manufacturing the supercomputer will be purchased from India local materials itself. The USA company will provide to the Indian company with design and drawing with regard to the materials and supplies to be procured in India. What are all the material that you need to purchase in India? For that, the design, drawing and all will be provided by the USA company. For this, the Indian company will pay Computer Incorporation, USA company, a technology fee of 8 crore. They are sharing the design, drawing, intellectual property and all. For that, we have to pay a fees of 8 crore rupees. And one more line, when you see in the below information, you can see that the technology agreement expires with the production of 8 lakh computers. You are paying this 8 crore fees for technology. No, you can produce a total of 8 lakh computers using this technology agreement. After you complete all those 8 lakh computers, the agreement will expire and then you cannot use the same technology. For that, you have to create a new agreement or you have to renew the agreement. So the technology fees, we are totally paying 8 crore rupees and then we are producing 8 lakh computers with it. So the technology fees per computer is 100 rupees. The next point is the Computer Incorporation. This is the point related to royalty. This we will see it later. Now, next the Indian company will furnish to the USA company detailed quarterly return. They have to furnish the information to the USA company on a quarterly basis. The other information, this is the FOB price. Second thing is insurance and freight. It will be 2,000 rupees per imported kit. For one kit, the insurance and freight is 2,000 rupees. Custom duty leviable. What is the custom duty? Because you are importing 200% of the CIF price. What is the meaning of FOB and CIF, which we have to understand? CIF means cost, insurance and then freight. You have to add all this to get the CIF price. But when you calculate FOB price, it is the price with free on board. What is the meaning of this is that the selling company will load the goods in a ship and then import it to and send it to India. Now, the goods in the ship, it is loaded by the selling company, which is in USA. USA selling company will load the goods in the ship and then the ship will come to India. Now, what is the responsibility of the selling company is that the selling company has the responsibility of the goods till the time of loading into the ship. After loading into the ship, it is the responsibility of the Indian company who is purchasing. The purchasing company from India will take the responsibility after the goods are loaded into the ship. Till the loading of the goods, it is the responsibility of the selling company. After loading, it becomes the responsibility of the purchasing company. The cost, insurance and freight. The cost of the goods will be paid by the Indian company. The insurance, the transit insurance from USA to India, the goods should be transported via sea route. The insurance for that will be covered by the Indian company, will be paid by the Indian company. Freight, the transportation cost for the rent for the ship and all, it will be paid by the Indian company. The shipping charge, that and all will be paid by the Indian company. This is the meaning of cost, insurance, freight. When you take CIF, all the things, cost, insurance, freight becomes the responsibility of the Indian company, purchasing company. But when you take the free on board price, what will happen is that the selling company will take responsibility only up to loading the goods into the ship. After that, there will be no responsibility of the selling company. Insurance, freight, everything will be paid by the Indian company only. So this is the meaning of CIF and FOB. Here, if you can see, what they have given is custom duty will be levied on CIF price. What is the CIF price here? The price of the dismantled goods. This is the cost. Insurance and freight, they have given to be 2,000 rupees. So when you add these two, you will get to the CIF price. On this price, they will levy the custom duty. Custom duty will be 200% of the CIF price, but as a concession, the actual rate is 40% of CIF. Normally, they levy 200%, but this company have given a special exception, and they are using only 40% rate. So 56,100 plus 2,000. This will be the CIF price. Out of this, we will use 40% as the custom duty. The technology agreement expiration that we already saw. Quoted price on kits includes a 25% margin of profits on cost to the USA company. The USA company is selling the kits at a price of cost plus 25% margin. The selling price is 1,12,200. This is the FOB price. But for the purchasing company, the price is actually 50%. But that is not relevant here. The quoted price, FOB quoted price, includes a 25% margin on cost. This will be equal to cost plus 25% of cost as profit. This will be the total FOB price. Now, when you have to calculate the cost, you can easily calculate. Here, if you see, we can see that this is equal to cost plus 25%. So 1.25 cost equal to this much. What is the cost? When you divide by 1.25, you will get the cost to be 89,760. This is the cost on FOB price. Cost on FOB price. This is the cost to the USA company. That is what they are asking. That is the meaning of the estimated cost of the quoted price on kits includes 25% of margin on cost. By this, we can calculate the cost to the USA company. Estimated cost of material and supplies to be obtained in India. Here, if you can see above, they have given a line. The balance of material will be procured in India. For India, we have to procure the materials. The estimated cost of the material to be procured in India will be 150% of the cost of supplies made by Computer Incorporation. the supplies made by Indian Computer Corporation. This 56100 is the value of the supplies made by the USA company. Value means it is the selling price of the dismantled kit. Now, here they have given it will be 150% of the cost of the supplies made by Computer Incorporation. Here, cost of supplies meaning that they are asking the cost to the USA company. Now, this 56100 is the selling price of the USA company. Now, we have to find out the cost to the USA company. The entire value is 56100. The cost is, when you use the cost plus 25% margin, that formula, you will get the cost to be 44,880. This will be the cost of supplies made by USA company. So, the estimated cost of material to be obtained in India will be 150% of the cost of supplies. Cost of supplies is 44,880 as we found out. Now, the material to be obtained in India will be 150% of that. 44,880 into 150%. You will get 67,320. This will be the cost of the material to be obtained in India. Now, 50% of the value in rupees of the locally procured goods will be representing the cost of the standard item. This we can see later. Now, first question what they are asking is that, one more point we left out, cost of assembly and overhead will be 8,000 per supercomputer, 8,000 per unit. The first question is, what will be the FOB price of the dismantled kit? They are asking the FOB price, US dollar into exchange rate, this will be the FOB price. Second question, what is the cost of dismantled kit to the USA company? Cost to the USA company. So, we are calculating the cost as per the formula and we are getting 89,000. What is the landed cost they are asking? What is the landed cost means? What is the cost we are incurring till landing of the goods? We are incurring this cost and then we are incurring insurance and freight also we are incurring. Cost, insurance, freight, everything we are incurring. Along with that, we are incurring custom duty also. So, this is also, you should be adding. All this cost together will come as the landed cost of the kit. When you see the solution, the FOB price, we can see 56,100 as we calculated already. Insurance and freight 2,000. This will be the CIF price. When you add custom duty, you will get the landed cost 81,340. So the answer is 81,340. Now the next question is, calculate the selling price of personal computer in India. What we are doing, we are manufacturing the personal computer in India. We are purchasing dismantled kit, we are purchasing balance material from India, and then we are creating the computer. The price of the computer in India they are asking. The Indian company, what will be the selling price of the computer in India? Targeted a profit of 20% on the selling price. The profit is 20% on the selling price. When you see this, you will get a 25% profit on cost. 1 by 5 on selling price will be equal to 1 by 4 on cost. So, 25% profit on cost will be equal to 20% profit on selling price. That thing we need to understand. Now we can see the solution for it. Here, if you see, you will get the landed cost, 81,340 that we have to pay. And then for local procurement, what is the cost of the material that we will purchase in India? 67,320, 150% of the cost of supplies made by USA company. That will be the cost of local material. Now, local material cost also we are adding. And then cost of assembly and overheads, 8,000 we saw in the last point. That also we are adding. This is the total cost of manufacturing. After that, you are adding the technology fee. And then you are writing the royalty payment. This royalty payment we have to find out, that I will tell you later. It is in the next question. This royalty payment, anyhow we found out and then we added it. Now, after adding the royalty payment, we are getting the total cost. Now, what is the profit? 20% on selling price or 25% on cost? So, 25% on cost we are adding and then we are getting the selling price. This is the selling price per computer. That is what they are asking in the question also. 2,07,514. Now, what is the only thing remaining for us? We have to see the royalty payment. The last question also, it is representing the royalty payment only. What is the royalty payment per computer they are asking? Now we have to read the question of the royalty payment point. The Computer Incorporation USA company will be entitled to a royalty at 10% at the selling price of the computer fixed for sales in India as reduced by the cost of the standard items and also the cost of imported kits. Now if you can see, we can take the formula like this. We have to take the selling price, reduce the cost of the standard item. If you can see here, we can see that as reduced by the cost of the standard item. You are reducing the standard item cost and then you are also reducing the cost of the imported kit. Cost of the imported kit. When you reduce all this, you will get to the amount. On this amount, you will get a 10% royalty. That will be the amount that should be paid to the USA company. We can assume the selling price to be X. And then we have the cost of standard item. How we found out the cost of standard item? What is the cost of standard item? 50% of the value in rupees of the locally procured goods represent cost of the standard item. What is the value of the locally procured goods? We are procuring locally the goods for a price of 67,320. Out of this, 50% will be the cost of standard item. Out of this, 50% will be the cost of the standard item, 33,660. So you have to reduce 33,660 from the selling price as the cost of standard item. Next thing is cost of imported kits. What is the cost of imported kits for us? Value of supply. We have taken the cost of imported kits to the Indian company. Cost to Indian company has been taken here. As you can see, here it is not written that we have to take the cost to the USA company. They have just mentioned that cost of the imported kits from the Computer Incorporation. From the USA company, we are importing, right? That kits, dismantled kits, we have to take the cost of it. The cost to the Indian company is 56,100. And we should not take the value of supply. We should not take that cost. We should take the landed cost. When you see, the 56,100 is just the cost of the dismantled kit. cost of the dismantled kit. This is not the total cost. In the total cost, we have the cost, insurance, freight, and also we have the custom duty. Adding all this only, we will get the cost of the total cost of the imported kit. This is the value of the supply, price at which we are purchasing. We are asking the cost of the imported kit. For importing the kit, we will get the total cost of landed cost 81,340. So we are reducing that also from the selling price. In this entire value, we are paying 10% royalty. So this is the formula for royalty. X is the selling price. This is the standard item cost. This is the cost of the imported kit. We will get the 10% royalty on it. Now, what is the selling price? Here, if you can see, for royalty, this is the thing they have followed. 10% of selling price minus the cost of standard item and then the cost of the imported kit. Now they have assumed that Y is the variable they have assumed for royalty. And then X is the selling price per unit of computer. What is the selling price? You have added the landed cost and then the cost of materials procured in India and then the overheads. This is the 100 rupees the technology fee and then you are adding the royalty. This will give us the total cost. On this total cost, we will have a margin of 25% on cost. After that, when you add this, you will get the selling price. So you are multiplying this entire cost by 1.25. This is the selling price and this is the royalty. Now, when you solve this equation, here you have X and Y in an equation. This is also Y and X in an equation. When you convert this equation and then solve it, you will get 2,07,000 for X and then 9,251 for Y. Y is the royalty payment per computer. X is the selling price. You can calculate the selling price by this method also, or else after finding the royalty, you can again add this royalty in this first equation and we can find out the X. If you see here, without finding the royalty, we cannot find out the selling price of the supercomputer. So we have to do this fifth question answer first, and we have to find out the selling price and royalty by solving the equation. And then this is the answer of the last question. This is the answer of the question before the royalty question. Now, this you can take it as the answer. I hope you understood the calculation of royalty and then the selling price. Just you have to solve this equation, and then you will get the value of X and Y. So the answer for royalty is 9251. The detailed calculation is given here. In this PDF itself, I have highlighted and written what are all the important points that you have to note in this question. This PDF will be available in the Telegram channel. The link for Telegram channel will be in the description and in the pinned comment. Now the next case scenario is, the next one is case scenario number 51. This is a very important question. This is based on the concept of experience curve. Now first we have to brush up our concept of experience curve first. When you see the concept of experience curve, you can understand that here we have a learning rate. What is the learning rate? For every unit the labor produces, he will gain experience and he will take less time to produce the next unit. For example, here first we are producing 100 units. The total time taken is 100 hours. The average time taken per unit is 1 hour. Now when you double the units, when producing 200 units, the total time taken will reduce to 160. It should have been 200. 2 into 100, it should be 200. But it is 160. We are saving 40 hours because of the learning curve effect. And then the average time taken per unit, it is multiplied by the learning rate factor. Here the learning rate is 80%. So 1 hour becomes 0.8 hours. So we are getting less time when you double the units. You are doubling the units, 100 units becoming 200. You are getting the reduction in average time taken by the factor of learning rate. 1 hour becomes 0.8 hour. This is the basic concept that you have to understand about the experience curve. And then one more thing is that here we have the formula also. Y equal to ax power b. This formula we can use to find out the average time taken per unit for x number of units. This average time taken per unit we have, right, 1 hour, 0.8 hour. That we can find out. That will be the value of y. A is the time taken to produce the first unit. X is the number of units. B is the learning index. The learning index will be given in the question mostly. For 80% learning curve, the learning index is 0.3219. How we are finding out the learning index? We are finding out the log of the learning rate. You are dividing it by log 2. Log 0.8 divided by log 2. You are getting this much. This will be the value of b. This will be mostly given in the question. Now that is the problem in the booklet in case scenario question itself. We can see the question. Here if you see the question, the company has just invented a new part. New part has a budgeted total profit of 75,000 in the first 256 parts. The time taken to produce the first part was 112.5 hours. The labor rate is 20 rupees per hour. Direct labor payment rate. 90% learning curve is expected. Here they did not give the value of b. They gave the learning rate of 90%, but they did not give the value of the learning index b. So we cannot use the formula of y equal to ax power b. So we have to find an alternative. Here, when you find the alternative, I will tell you the method which ICA has used. Here, when you see, we have to use the table. What we saw, when you double the number of units, you will get the average time taken to be multiplied by the learning factor. Here, what is the time taken to produce the first unit? First unit, the time is 112.5 hours. The first part you can manufacture 112.5. You have to double the units. Units will become 1 into 2. You will get 2 units. The average time taken per part will get multiplied by the learning factor. Here the learning curve is 90%. So multiplied by 0.9. So here when you multiply, you will get 101.25. Again, when you do this repeatedly, you will get the different number of parts and different average time taken per part. And in one point, you will reach the part of 256. For 256 units, the average time taken per unit is 48.4276 hours. Here, what they have asked in question they have exactly asked that the 256 parts as the number. So it is very easy, and we can say that for 256 parts, the average time taken per part is 48.43 hours. We can round it off to 43. Average time taken per part for 256 parts, 48.43. Total time taken, average time multiplied by the number of parts, 256. You will get 12,398 hours. This is in hours. When you multiply by the labor rate, you will get the total cost of labor. Here, if you can see, we are getting a 75,000 profit. At this level, we are getting a 75,000 profit from the first 256 parts. For the first 256 parts, what is the total cost? Labor cost is this much. We don't have the data for any other cost. We are going to assume that only labor cost is there for the production. And then profit is 75,000. So that this much is the total revenue. So profit and we are getting the total revenue. Here, this method when we can use only when the number of parts asked. Here we are asking 256 parts. So we are directly finding out from the table. For example, if you want 200th part, the average time taken per part for 200 parts. If you want to find that value, we cannot use this table. We have to use the formula itself, y equal to ax power b. When you are having the number of parts in powers of 2, here 256 to 2 power 8. If you have the number of parts that can be expressed in powers of 2, you can use the table itself. There is no problem. This much is the total revenue. And then they are asking, the first question is, what is the revised labor cost to achieve zero profit? For achieving zero profit, what is the labor cost? Here, if the total profit should be 0, the labor cost should be equal to revenue. We have a revenue of 3,22,000. And then at this revenue, we have a profit of 75,000. Now, when we want to zero profit and we want to keep the revenue this much itself, there is no thing about the change in revenue. So the profit should be 0. Now, what we have to do? We have to increase the cost by 75,000. Now, what will happen is that the total cost will increase by 75,000 and there will be no profit. So the total labor cost should be increased by 75,000 and then the total labor cost will equal the total revenue. So this much 3 lakh will be the total labor cost. This is the total labor cost 3 lakh. Average, what is the formula for total labor cost? Average time per part into number of parts. This will give the total parts manufactured into this average time per part will be the time of production for one part. Number of parts, when you multiply, it will give us the total time required to manufacture the parts. And when you multiply by the cost per labor hour, you can find out the total cost of labor. This is the formula, and then when you substitute it, this is the total labor cost, this is the cost per labor hour, this is the number of parts. We are finding it after achieving the zero profit. At that level, what is the average time per part? That is coming to 63.08 hours. Now, what they are asking in question is that, what is the revised labor cost they are asking? That we found out it will be equal to the revenue. The next question is, what is the cumulative average time required per part for producing 256 parts based on MCQ1? They are asking based on MCQ1. So for achieving zero profit, the average time required per part. That is what we found out just now, 63.08. The next question is the sensitivity of the budgeted total profit from the first 256 parts to the changes in the learning rate. Now, what is sensitivity? We have a lot of variables when we are calculating anything. For example, when we are calculating net present value, the tenure of the project is one variable. The initial investment is another variable, selling price is one variable cost is one variable. Like that, we are depending on so much variables, and then we are calculating the net present value. When you change one variable, for example, we are reducing the selling price, then what will be the effect on net present value? Like that, when you change one variable in an adverse manner, what is the effect on the return? For example, net present value in that situation. What is the effect on net present value? You will be finding out. That is called a sensitivity analysis. Here also we are going to see that only. How the change in one variable affects the project return. Here the project return is the profit. The variable is the learning rate. They are asking what will be the sensitivity of profit with respect to learning rate. So what they are asking is, when you are changing learning rate, what will be the change in profit? Now, when you increase the cost, it is bad for the company. When you decrease the revenue, when you lower the revenue, it will be bad for the company. In the same manner, when you increase the learning rate, it will be bad for the company. For example, the learning rate is currently 90%. For example, if it becomes 95%, what will happen? The number of parts when it comes to 2, the average time taken per part as per 95% learning rate is 106 hours. But as per the 90 hours learning rate, the time we had is 101.25. But after 95% learning curve, it becomes 106. There is an increase in the labor hour. When you increase the labor hour, it will increase the labor cost. When it increases the labor cost, it will reduce the profit. It will have a negative effect on the profit. So it is bad for the company. Increasing the learning rate is bad for the company. What we are finding out, when you change the variable in an adverse manner, when you change the variable to a manner in which it is bad for the company, at that situation, what will happen to the profit? That is what we are finding out. So we have to increase the learning rate. More labor time taken will increase the labor cost and reduce the profit. We have two methods for finding the sensitivity analysis. First, we can change the variable by 1% and then find out what is the percentage change in profit. Now we have to increase the learning rate by 1%. Currently 90% is the learning rate. When you increase by 1%, what will happen? 90 plus 1%. 90.9 will be the learning rate. Or if you can understand it like that, 0.9 is the learning curve factor. When you increase by 1%, it will become 0.909. This will be the new learning curve factor. Currently the learning rate is 90% and the profit is 75,000. When you increase the learning curve by 1%, it becomes 90.9. Here you have to find out the value of B, learning index, for the 90.9% new learning rate. If you want to use the formula of y equal to ax power b, you have to find out the value of b. Otherwise, for this new learning rate also, you can calculate using the table itself. Using this table itself, you have to change the value of the factor, and then you have to find out the average time taken per part. By the table itself, you can find it out. Here I am using the value, I'm finding out the value of B and then doing it. If you do the table approach also, it will give a more accurate answer. So here, if you can see, I have calculated using the tables approach also. You are modifying the learning rate factor, and you are getting for 256 parts, the average time taken per part is 52.4401. And using the other method, we are getting a learning time average time per part of 52.4831. The total time taken you can calculate by multiplying by a number of parts, and then you can multiply the labor rate and find out the total labor cost. Now the total revenue is this much. This is the total labor cost. We are getting this after increasing the learning rate by 1%. So what is the profit we are getting? 54,248.128. This is the total profit after increasing the learning rate by 1%. Now here, currently the learning rate is 90%, profit is 75,000. New learning rate is 90.9%, profit is 54,000 something. The increase in learning rate by 1% reduced the profit by how much? We had 75,000, now we have only 54,000. It reduced by 20,000 something. For 1% change in learning rate, we are getting 20,000 reduction in profit. So when we want to zero profit, we have to reduce the profit by 75,000. How much we should change the learning rate? That we are proportionately finding out by cross multiplying, and then we are getting this 3.6141. You can round it up to 3.60. This is an approximate answer because this is not the method followed by ICAI. When you change the variable by 1%, this is not the method followed by ICAI. You have another method of sensitivity analysis. That is the one used by ICAI in the question. So here we found out a sensitivity rate of 3.6%. When you change the learning rate by 3.6% adversely, you will reduce the profit to 0. Now the method to which is used by ICAI is the profit is 0 when we have to directly reduce the profit itself to 0. Profit is 0 when labor cost is equal to revenue. 3 lakh will be the labor cost, and at that level the profit will be 0. At that level of labor cost, the average time taken per part will be 53.08. What is the learning rate at this level? This is the average time taken per part. This is the value of y. We have to find out the learning rate at this level. What is the percentage, like 90% or 90.9%? We have to find out that. We have to substitute in the formula. Y is the y value is the 63.08. 112.5 is the time taken to produce the first unit. 256 is the number of parts. B is the value which we want to find out. Here, when you do the calculation, we can take the 112.5 into the other side. We will get this decimal in the other side, and we will have 256 for B in the left hand side. 256 can be written as 2 power 8. You can keep the B in the whole power. When you multiply 8 and B, you will get 2 power 8B. 2 power 8B is equal to this decimal amount. Now we have to take log on both sides. We already know the formula of log A power B. We can write it as B into log A. That we know. So 8B we are taking it to the front, and we are having only log 2. 2 and log we are having in the right side. In the right hand side of the equation, we have the log of that value. We have to find out the log of 0.5607. We already saw how to calculate the log of any number using a simple calculator. We have to calculate the log using that method, and then we have to calculate the value of log 2 also using the same method. Now what we have 8b into log 2 value equal to the log value of this fraction. B will be this number divided by the log of 2 value divided by 8. When you do this, you will get the B value to be 0.1044 minus. Now what is the learning rate at the value of B? The formula is R is equal to 2B. R is the learning rate. 2 power B will be equal to the learning rate. R will be equal to 2 power this much. You have to find out the value of 2 power minus 0.1044 using the calculator trick. By doing that, you will get a 0.9302. So you will get a learning rate of 93.02%. At the learning rate of 93.02%, this is the value of B. And then at this value of B, we have a average time taken per part of 63.08. Using this average time taken, this is the total labor cost, and we are getting the profit to be 0. The simple thing is, at a learning rate of 93.02, we are getting the profit to be 0. So here if you see, we are increasing the learning rate by 3.02. From you are increasing it from 90. So when you calculate the percentage, you are increasing the learning rate by 3.36%. At this increased percentage, you are getting the profit to be 0. So you have to take this as the sensitivity rate. Now we have the option also here, 3.36. We have to select it. We have the option of 3.36. That is the sensitivity percentage. Now the other method which I told is that we have to calculate the B value in the same manner. At the learning rate of 90%, we have to find out the value of learning index B. Log of 0.9 divided by log of 2. Log of 0.9 we can find out, and log of 2 also we can find out. We will get the value of B. And we can find out the average time taken per part by using it in the formula of y equal to ax power b. You can find out the B value separately, or you can use the table to find out the value of the average time taken per part. That is the alternative which I was talking about. ICAI used this table approach to find out the value. We have another question also in the same manner where they did not give the value of learning index. In that also, the number of parts was in power of 2. So we can find it out by using the table itself. Wherever the ICAI did not give the value of learning index, they gave the number of parts in powers of 2. So we can use the table itself to find out it. Now the next case scenario we can see. Now the next case scenario is number 52. This is also similar to an illustration. I have given the reference, and then in this I have given the learning rate coefficient, everything they have given. We can calculate it in the normal manner itself. Now the next case scenario is number 53. Here it is same as that earlier question which we saw. They did not give the value of P, but the number of parts is they are asking in two machines is in power of 2. So we can use the table. Number of units and then average time taken per unit we are taking. They have given the data. It is similar to the above question. I have given the solution here. Now the next case scenario we are going to see. This is the last case scenario in this booklet. After that, we have individual MCQ questions. We are going to see that. We have a total of 53 case scenarios, which gives paragraph format questions, and then they ask multiple MCQ questions below that. That format is the last question of that format is case scenario number 53. Now we are going to see scenarios which have individual MCQs. We will have a single MCQ with one paragraph or so, and then we will have the options. We have to find out the answer. We will see the practical questions in that also. Here in those individual questions, we have a total of 238 questions. Mostly they are of theory. Only some questions are of practical. Now we can see them. Here, question number 54 is a practical question. What will be the overall equipment effectiveness? OEE concept they are testing. If second is ideal cycle time, planned production time is 7 hours, and out of total count of 19,240, the good count is 18,848. Now, the concept of overall equipment effectiveness (OEE) is explained in a very detailed manner in chapter number 3. Here we are going to see the short answer itself. The overall equipment effectiveness formula is we have to multiply the availability ratio, performance ratio, and then the quality ratio. What is the formula for availability ratio? Operating time divided by planned production time. What is the formula for performance ratio? Total count into ideal cycle time divided by the operating time. For quality ratio, good count divided by total count. The logic for all these formulas is also explained in chapter number 3. The overall equipment effectiveness, when you multiply all this, you will get it. So when you multiply the extended formula, the planned production time will be in the denominator. Operating time will be, we can cut it out because it is present in both numerator and in the denominator. You are cancelling out the operating time. And then total count also, it is present in both numerator and denominator. Now we can eliminate that also. Now what is the thing which we have remaining? Ideal cycle time multiplied by good count divided by the planned production time. This is the extended formula for overall equipment effectiveness. Even if you don't have all the data, if you have this 3 data, you can find out the OEE answer. Here they have given that second is ideal cycle time. Second means that is not the, we have 2 types of second. One is the 1 minute equals 60 seconds, and then we are saying first second like that. That is another second. Here they are saying that a second is an ideal cycle time. So ideal cycle time is equal to 1 second. That is what they have taken here. Planned production time 7 hours, total count this much, good count this much. So we have to find it out like that. Ideal cycle time into good count divided by planned production time. Planned production time is 7 hours. When you are converting it into seconds, we are getting 7 into 60 into 60. You are getting a total of 25,200 seconds. We are taking the above ideal cycle time in seconds. That is why we are taking the planned production time also in seconds. Either you have to convert the planned production time into seconds, or you have to convert the ideal cycle time into hours. Here I have followed the seconds approach. So we are getting an overall equipment effectiveness of 74.79%, which is the answer. Now we can move to the next question. Now question number 52 is a practical question. It is same as chapter 4, illustration number 3. I have given the reference here. Next question number 64. The selling price is 275 for each unit of the product, and then sales for the coming year is expected to be 400 units. A return of 30% on the investment of 125,000 is required in the coming year. They have total this much investment. They want 30% return. So total how much return they want? Investment into return 37,500. This much is the return they want in amount. What is the number of units they are selling? 400 units. This is the amount that we have to recover as profit. So how much we have to recover as profit per unit? 93.75. Total profit by the number of units. You will get the profit per unit. Now you have the target selling price of 275. Now the target profit is 93.75. So what will be the target cost? We have to find out it by subtracting. You will get it out to be 181.25. That is what they are asking in the question also. What is the target cost? That's all of this question. Now question number 122, it's a practical question. It is also based on the experience curve. We have the number of parts they are asking to be second machine. So it is in the power of 2. We can directly use the table and find out the answer. The same thing only, I have given the solution here. Now question number 123 is also the same thing. We have the number of parts in number 4, we want 4 identical parts. It is in the power of 2. So we can use the table itself. We can find out the average time taken per unit. We can multiply by the number of units and then the labor cost to find out the total labor cost. And then we are finding out the average labor cost per unit. And then we are using it to find out the target contribution and target selling price. If you read it yourself, you can understand. It's okay, I will read it for you. Now here what is happening is that we have a 90% learning curve. And then the price we have to calculate. The targeted contribution is 1,500. We want 1,500 as a contribution. And then variable cost is 2,000 plus 810. Direct variable cost excluding labor is 2,000. And then the direct labor 20 hours at 50 rupees per hour. This is for the first unit. Now we are producing a total of 4 units and we have a learning curve. When we calculate, the total labor time comes out to be 64.8 hours. For 1 hour, the time price is 50 rupees. When you multiply, you get a total labor cost of 3240. When you divide it by the number of units, the average labor cost per unit comes out to be 810 rupees. We want this much contribution. The variable cost is 2,000 for material, 810 for labor. This is the total variable cost. What will be the target selling price? You have to add the contribution and the variable cost. You will get 4,310. That is the answer. 4,310. Now we can move to the next question. Question 124, it is same as chapter 6, illustration number 6. I have given the reference here. Now question number 125, it is similar to chapter 6, question knowledge question number 7. I have given the solution here, only the numbers are changed. So I am not solving it. You can keep this question, this type of similar questions for practice. You can solve the original questions in the study material. That itself will be enough. You can solve the unique questions alone in this booklet of case scenarios. So I am not covering this in a detailed manner now. I have already covered this in chapter 6, some solving. Now question number 126 is a unique question. We can see it. We have a cost of production and sales of 80,000 units. The data is given here: material, variable overhead, labor, and fixed overhead. We can find out the total cost by adding this. This is the total cost for 80,000 units. The fixed portion of capital employed. We have capital employed here. The capital is 12 lakhs to fixed capital. Varying portion is 50% of sales turnover. We will have that much capital required. We need the selling price per unit to earn a return of 12% on the 12% net on the capital employed. Net of tax 40%. We want a return on capital employed net of tax to be 12%. 12% we want return on capital net of tax. What is the return on capital net of tax? Return on capital employed gross amount minus the tax at 40%. So when you perform the calculation, 12% we want net amount, return on capital employed into 1 minus tax, you need the 12%. So what will be the gross amount of return on capital employed? You must achieve a return on capital employed of 20% pre-tax, so that you will reduce the tax and then it comes out to be 12% after tax. Now 20% return we want before tax. So now we don't know the selling price per unit. That is what we have to find out. So we can assume it to be X. The number of units which we have to sell, 80,000. That is given in the question. So the total sales revenue will be selling price into number of units, 80,000 into X. Now what will be the total cost? When you add all the cost, you can get a total of 14,60,000, which is the total cost. What is the return you want? 20% of the capital. What is capital? 12 lakh plus 50% of sales revenue. On that amount, we want 20% return. 50% of sales revenue. What is the sales revenue? 80,000 into X. When you multiply 50% of it, 80,000 X divided by 2. Multiplying by 50% is same as dividing by 2. You will get 40,000 X. This is the varying portion of the capital. So 12 lakh plus 40,000 X is the total capital. You need 20% return on that. So when you multiply 20% to 12 lakh and then 40,000 X, you will get 2,40,000 plus 8,000 X. This will be the return, gross return amount. Now this 2,40,000 plus 8,000 X is the return before tax. Now, what is the return formula for return before tax? When you reduce the total cost from the sales, you will get the return, but before the tax, because tax is not reduced till now. The sales is 80,000 X, cost is 14,60,000. The return before taxes we already found out, 2,40,000 plus 8,000 X. Now, when you perform the calculation for X, you will get the value to be 23.6111. This is the selling price per unit. Now, this is the answer they are asking, 23.61. That's all about this question. Now this is a unique question, question number 130. Here we have a company which produces 3 products and they are in joint product. Product number C has no realizable value unless it is processed further after the point of separation. The cost details are as follows. The thing is they are joint products. They will put the raw material into the machine and it will process it together and then we will get a 3 different products. This is the point of separation. At this point, the joint process will be completed and we will get 3 different products, A, B and C. The product C cannot be sold at this point. At the point of separation, we cannot sell the product C. We can only process it further and then only we can sell it in the market. The cost up to point of separation, up to the point of separation, up to the processing together, up to joint process, the cost is 80 rupees. And then the marginal cost, further processing cost is 80 rupees marginal cost, 20 rupees additional fixed cost. Even though it is fixed cost, since it is incurred additionally, we can consider it. At the point of separation, if we process it further, what will happen? We can get additional benefit of sales revenue after the further processing cost. After further processing, we can sell it for 150 rupees per unit. Sales revenue after further processing is 150 per unit. What is the additional cost you are incurring? Additional marginal cost and additional fixed cost, 100 rupees. Now, what is the net additional benefit you are getting? 150 is the selling price, 100 is the cost, so the net benefit is 50 rupees. So we are getting a 50 rupees contribution. It is contributing towards recovery of joint cost. So we have to process the product C further. That is the option also answer. In answer also they have given option A. Now we can move to the next question. Now question number 136. This is already repeated in the case scenario, paragraph format questions itself. So I have given the solution but not covering it. Now question number 144. This is based on the concept of profit maximization model. It is also a very similar question only the numbers are changed. So I am not covering it here. Question number 145, 146, up to 144 and 145. These 2 questions are based on the profit maximization model. There is no big change in it, only a small changes in the question. So I am not covering it. I have given the solution here. Now we can see question number 150. This is a unique question. The company manufactures a carbonated drink which is sold in 1 liter bottles. During the bottling process, there is a 10% loss of liquid input due to spillage and evaporation. What is the standard usage of liquid per bottle? Now what we are telling is that the cool drinks they are selling in 1 liter bottles. During the bottling process, there is a 10% loss of liquid input due to spillage and evaporation. When they input the liquid into the bottle, 10% is getting lost due to spillage and evaporation. when you input 1 liter into the bottle, the amount of liquid that the bottle gets inside is 0.9 liter. 10%, 0.1 liter gets lost due to spillage and evaporation. Now you have to fill 1 liter into the bottle. So how much liquid we have to put as input? You can cross multiply and find out that you have to input 1.11 liters to fill the bottle of 1 liter. 0.11 liters will become get evaporated and it will be lost. That is the normal loss. The next question number 151 is the cost of material was 5 rupees per kg. At that time, the price index was 110. Now the price index becomes 550. What is the current price? You have to cross multiply and find out. You will get the answer as 25. Here question number 199, this is a unique question. Here you can see that we have a 50 lakh rupees extra amount which we can invest in project. When you invest in division A, you will get a contribution of 10 lakh. And then the return on investment, when you divide the controllable contribution by the investment, you are getting 20% return. When you invest the same 50 lakh in division B, you are getting 8 lakh return, and then the return on percentage is 16%. The percent return on investment is 25% and 15%. The cost of capital is 18% for the company. Now what should the managers do for promoting goal congruence? What is goal congruence is that as per the overall company view, you have to see. You have to accept the project if it recovers the cost of capital. That is, the return should be more than the cost of capital. Here, the return 20% is more than the cost of capital 18%. So you can accept it. Division A can accept the project. But when you see Division B, the return does not cover the cost of capital. Cost of capital is the minimum return which you have to earn. So this is not covering it. So Division B should reject it. What should happen as per goal congruence? Division A should accept it. Division B should reject it. But what should not happen in goal congruence? Situation not leading to goal congruence. Division A does the opposite. Division A is supposed to be accepting, but it is rejecting. Division B, it is supposed to reject, but it is accepting. This is the situation which does not lead to goal congruence. That is what they are asking. Which is the situation that does not lead to goal congruence in the company. Here, A is rejecting, A is accepting, B is rejecting, B is accepting. We have 4 alternatives. We have to select what 2 alternatives as a combination which gives the not goal congruent situation. A should reject, B should accept. A should reject, B should accept. That 2 situation we have to take. A reject, B accept. 1 and 4. 1 and 4 option number A. We can go to the next question. Now question number 2162, some 4 or 5 questions. These are based on the transfer pricing concept. We have solved a lot of questions on this format in the chapter itself. I have given the solution, but I am not covering them extensively. You can read the solution by downloading this PDF from the Telegram channel. And question number 222, it is also same as the example. This is the example page number 12.16. Now the next question is 223. That is also similar to Teflon knowledge question number 3 in transfer pricing chapter. Only amounts are changed. Question number 223 to 227. Those questions are in the same question only. Teflon knowledge 3. You can find it from there. Only amounts are changed here. I have given the solution, but I am not covering it. Now after that, if you see, we are coming to the end. We are nearing the end. 236 is based on standard costing illustration number 2. It is the same as the question. Even amounts are not changed. Now the next thing is question number 237. 237 here they are giving different variances. And then they are asking what is the fixed budget profit. What is the budgeted profit they are asking. They have given the sales margin on actual sales. And then they have given the sales margin volume variance also. What is the formula for sales margin volume variance? Actual quantity minus budgeted quantity multiplied by budgeted margin. What is the margin of that? It is the profit per unit, net profit. Sales margin volume variance, 5,000 adverse given in the question. And then budgeted margin per unit. That we don't know, but we have the standard margin on actual sales. Actual sales means actual quantity. Multiplied by standard margin means budgeted margin. So this we have. Now when you cross multiply, you will get actual quantity into budgeted margin. That is the amount that they have given here, 60,000 rupees. That we are taking and then subtracting. You will put the minus symbol and then you will multiply these two. Budgeted quantity into budgeted margin. When you multiply the budgeted quantity by the budgeted margin, you will get the budgeted profit. Profit per unit multiplied by the number of units. You will get the budgeted profit. When you solve for budgeted profit, you will get the budgeted profit to be 65,000 rupees. That is the answer here, 65,000. That is the last practical question in the case scenario booklet. We have solved all the practical questions in the case scenario booklet now.